My, how time passes and things change, creating many inconsistencies that we all have to adapt to. But there is one thing that will never change, and that is your boy's predictions, because not only was I completely right about Tingyun's memory loss that you can find out all about right here, but I was also right about the fact that Hoyo does not do things for no reason. And a character's in-game path is definitely meant to represent a character's life. In the past, I have explained why Black Swan is Nihility even though she is a memo keeper of the Remembrance. But many believe that she was Nihility because the Remembrance path simply wasn't playable. But here we are, with Remembrance releasing as the newest playable path. So let's talk about it, shall we? Because this is the Remembrance path explained. So in order to understand the path, you've got to understand the Aeon. So let's start off with the Aeon of Remembrance, Fuli. You see, there is a lot of information and misinformation about Fuli. Some say that Fuli rose from the events of the Veracity Ouroboros, taking on the ever-replicating propagation during the swarm disaster, which led to Ouroboros eating itself to death, but not in the way that you would think it does. The last thing we knew Ouroboros did was attempt to eat the entire swarm, which resulted in the destruction of countless worlds. So it is believed that it died due to not being able to eat enough, or the bugs were replicating inside of its belly, which would be even more horrific. Anyway, this catastrophic loss of life is what some say gave rise to Fuli. But as much as this would make sense due to the massive uptick of abandoned memories, this was fabricated by the history fictionologists, so it is all but confirmed false. The truth being that absolutely no one knows. The Genius Society, the IPC, and the Intelligentsia Guild are all collectively stumped by the existence of Fuli. It is almost as if those who actually know had the memory of it removed. Because I don't know about you, but I find it rather ironic that no one remembers the rise of the Aeon of Remembrance. Instead, we only have a single noted appearance of Fuli before a human, and that was at the resignation speech of the richest man in the universe and IPC founder, Louis Fleming. A man so rich that people refer to him as the Aeon of Wealth. Gotta love the IPC, right? But this ain't about them. During Louis Fleming's speech, our mysterious crystalline Aeon appeared shining a rainbow-colored light that sent the entire crowd into a panic. And for a brief moment, a human who represented wealth locked eyes with an Aeon. And as quickly as Fuli appeared, they went. And Mr. Fleming left the stage, never to be seen again. Now, what we can glean from this is that Fuli seems to appear at paramount moments in a universe's history, to simply collect the memories of said events and leave. The reason behind this is to prepare to recreate the universe after its destruction with the massive data bank of memories. Smart? Cautious? Paranoid? I'm not exactly sure, but that's about all we know about Fuli in particular. And Fuli's followers are just as obsessed with memories because on one hand we've got the Garden of Recollection, and on the other hand we've got the Cremators, both of which are memo keepers that threw away their physical bodies to become emetic entities. The Gardeners of Recollection, like Black Swan and Mr. Rekka, collect memories and place them in the pure land of recollection, which is basically Fuli's pocket dimension. And the Cremators throw away memories from said pocket dimension that they do not deem important. The Cremators being rogue memo keepers because real memo keepers believe all memories are precious no matter how seemingly insignificant they are. And if their goal is to recreate the universe, they might have a point. On a side note, Welt calls the memo keepers of the garden Emanators. And he might be right, or at least partially, because memo keepers are terrifyingly powerful and transformed into memetic entities because of Fuli. And the definition of emanator is anyone who receives power directly from an Aeon. So he's not necessarily wrong. The power of an emanator depends on the power of the Aeon and how much power they are allowed to draw on. That's why Acheron is so powerful, because IX couldn't care less about how much power she uses. Which is probably also why Acheron hurts herself, hence the title Self-Annihilator. But this is also why Black Swan fears the Nihility, because IX is the only known thing in the universe that can destroy memories and leave no traces regardless of where they are stored. Because Fuli can pull memories from Ouroboros' stomach, and it doesn't matter how much Nanook destroys, memories are still left behind. But IX is different. To put into perspective how much of a threat IX is, allow me to explain to you what IX is precisely. This is the Earth compared to the sun. This is the sun compared to one of the largest known stars. And this is that star compared to a large black hole. The reason why it looks like this is because black holes can pull in light. That is what IX is. IX is so powerful that it can not only pull in and destroy light, but also memories, aka thoughts and concepts. Yeah, so the entire premise of Fuli is threatened by the existence of IX. Let that sink in. But don't let it sink in too far because IX might eat it and I'll have to tell you again. I have too much fun with this. Anyway, that pretty much sums up the Remembrance and what the path is about, which in my opinion reveals how our Trailblazer might unlock this path of remembrance. Let me explain. The reason why we are able to fuse with different paths is because Stellarons can fuse with different paths. And our first path was destruction because not only did we awaken during the Antimatter Legion's attack, but we were also kinda created shortly before. And in order to destroy, you must create. In order to create, you must destroy, so it makes sense. When we unlocked our preservation form, we were fighting against another Stellaron-fused individual with the goal of preserving Eurilo 6. Pretty sure Cocolia Stellaron was also resonating with preservation as well. So, again, it lines up. When we got Harmony, we were about to fight Sunday, who had fused himself with the Order and the Harmony, not to mention that we wore the hat of our nameless predecessor, taking on his trailblazing spirit. Just like Shipe the Harmony assimilates other Aeons into itself, becoming a multi-faced entity. So once again, everything makes sense. So it only makes sense that in the future we are going to fight against a very powerful opponent that represents the Remembrance in some way, creating a universal event so significant that it becomes a memory worthy of Fuli collecting themselves. Or we end up fighting a memory. But anyway, that's my prediction for how we will unlock the Remembrance path. Now, with all that said, we're gonna need a part 2, because Star Rail only players don't really understand how fascinating the power of memories are, especially when you factor in the Flame Chasers. Those who know. The God Killers are back, Alicia's back, there might be 2 Fuhuas, Partophilus exists, Kevin is gonna do Kevin things, which means there might be another Dr. May, and that opens up a whole new can of worms. We already have a Natasha, which means where is this one? And there is just so much to talk about. But what do you guys think? Be sure to let me know, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace, y'all. Psst. While you're still here, Cirrus looks way too much like the Hersher of Corruption. And now you can't unsee that either. Have fun with that. Bye!